What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we're going to be sort of previewing Port Adelaide versus St Kilda in the Amy Community Series game coming up this Saturday at 2:40 p.m. We'll be live streaming on the channel, ThePear, so make sure you subscribe and get the notifications on because we will be live streaming and a bit of a watch along. So get the footy on your TV and have me in the corner, and we'll be able to chat footy and chat Port and chat everything throughout the game as we'll see hopefully what Port Adelaide can do. And that's exactly what we're here to do today. We're going to watch, I'm going to give you some tips and give you some little dot points to what to watch for this weekend. And obviously you'll make your own assumption as well and see what you are looking forward to and what you want to see on Saturday as well. Let's get straight into it though. Here is Port Adelaide versus St Kilda. What to watch out for. Obviously, it's been a big news week. It's been a lot happening at Port Adelaide. Sponsorship extensions, sponsorship concerns. Obviously, a lot of injuries are running around and concerns, and that's in particular to Zach Butters, which is such sad news. Oh my God. Definitely something that we have to sort of adapt to. Going from one end where we're talking about Butters' contract, and I'm looking at you, SEN, because honestly, sick of the talk, and the next thing you know, the next day he's going to have surgery on his knee and probably miss round one. So unfortunate to see for Zachy boy, but we'll know he'll be back strong, and hopefully it's just a minor injury where he can recover over the next few weeks and be back for what I suspect will be around that 4-5 mark against St Kilda, or possibly Gather Round as well. Obviously, so the thing with that is our midfield dynamic, and that's the one thing I'll be looking at to see. So who's going to fill that void? Who's going to fill that role? We've obviously got great depth in our midfield, and I think there'll be more minutes for Willem Drew, more minutes for Jason Horne-Francis. Connor Rosie will be leading that charge. Ollie Wines obviously will have a few more minutes. Willem Drew, Jackson Mead will be another one. Travis Boak's name's been floated up. I think a few more players can roll in there. Joe Berry might get a few more minutes as well, and I think that's a lot of the things you'll suspect to happen throughout the time, especially with everything that's been sort of happening in our midfield. And we've seen changes down back, changes down forward, and now we're going to see changes in the midfield. There'll be a lot of midfield dynamic to look out for. So I'm interested to see the starting midfield, how will we adapt, and who the rotations are. So that's one thing I'll definitely be keeping an eye on Saturday. So it is obviously a community series game. This means nothing in terms of stature on a stat sheet. This means nothing in terms of season's perspective. So my question is, how competitive will we really be? We obviously looked at the match simulation against the Crows, and then we looked like we're going at 50% playing backyard footy. It looked nothing, whereas I thought the Crows looked a bit more painted on, I guess. So are we sort of having a bit of a moment in this preseason where we're just adapting to everything, making sure everything is smooth on our end, and whatever the other team does is sort of them per se? I'm expecting a little bit more of a competitive outfit for Port Adelaide. I think going into round one, knowing that we have an internal trial as well come next week too, I'm expecting a little bit more competitive. I'm not expecting straight, flat out, all guns blazing, foot to the floor, pedal to the metal type situation. Absolutely not. I'm more expecting Port to really hone in on their sort of mistakes and what they learnt from the match simulation, see what they could adapt to. Obviously, putting the dynamic without Butters in there, trialling out our forward line, trialling out the backline structure, seeing what we can do. And I still expect us to name a pretty competitive squad come the selection time, which will probably be Thursday night, which is about the time this video will be released too. So that's the other thing. That sort of leaves into the third thing I was sort of wanting to watch and see is what name squad will we have. So Port Adelaide, we've seen teams name pretty strong lineup, especially the Pies. They look pretty fit, and obviously teams are playing opening round next weekend as well. So I'm expecting a pretty competitive 30-man squad. I'm not expecting straight out best 23 type vibes. I think we'll still have a rotation in there for players and really give out some solid minutes to players that are trying to prove a point as well. And there's obviously options to open up for. So definitely keen to see what name squad we have for Saturday. And then come to Saturday, I think we'll get a fair idea of the best 23, including the sub, including what players we'll be potentially looking for, and I think we'll get a fair idea of what we're going to be bringing for Saturday in that name squad. And I expect it to be strong, as I said, but I just feel like the strength of the lineup named compared to the competitive nature we have on the field on Saturday will be, I think there'll be a fair gap between the two. Now, I've sort of combined these two for the back end, but I'll start with, I'm looking at our defensive structure. I want to see how this dynamic works against the Saints. Obviously, no Max King. They'll still have a pretty competitive lineup. They're pretty tall, and they'll have a few different options down forward. So I want to see how we go with our structures. Jeremy Finlayson, once again, will he get trialled down there with Aaliyah and Miles Bergman? Are we going to go a bit smaller? Lockie Jones thrown in there. I've seen a few best 23s lying about at the moment, and Lockie Jones isn't in there. So I wonder if they know a few things that we don't, which is quite interesting. But different websites have different named best 23s. So defensively, I think, that's the one that's pretty open in terms of who moves through there. Kane Farrell, Josh Sin, Ryan Burton, obviously, as I said, Finlayson. Radigalia looks to be on track to play round 1, so is it going to be even worth the dynamic? Are we training him up in case there is any further issues going forward? That's the whole defensive unit. And we saw against the Crows that when we slowed it down, the opposition weren't allowed to go inside 50 freely and quickly, that we were pretty competitive in the air anyway, regardless of height. So I definitely I'm intrigued to see how we play at a Saints outfit in the day, in some good conditions, and I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what happens come Saturday down back, because not only will we be watching down back, but I'll be definitely watching the front, the forward line structure. Again, is it going to be a similar prospect to what we had against the Crows? Is it going to be predominantly Lukosius, Georgiadis, Horne-Francis resting down there, Rioli, Powell Pepper, Joe Berry, Joe Richards? Is that going to be the new look? A lot of blondes in there, by the way. Or are we going to throw in Ollie Lord? Are we going to throw in Jeremy Finlayson from back to front? What's that dynamic look like? And I'm really intrigued to see. Again, it all links with the name squad. And I think with the injuries of Butters, it presents more opportunities, a lot more resting up forward as well. Ollie Wines has come out and stated multiple times that mids will look to rest forward more. And I love the idea of Ollie Wines playing one-on-one. I know his goal kicking is a bit average and stuff, but so is our whole team's goal kicking average. So, I think him competitively down forward would be really, really cool to see. And that's a new dynamic as well, big body. I think we know Horne-Francis will rest down there quite well. Does Connor Rosie rest down there? Trav Boak moves from a wing to half forward to midfield. Is that his rotation? There are a lot of questions for this structure will be asked, and that's one thing I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on, because you learn a lot from a match simulation in terms of where mentally the club is at. And I said this at the time. We're not there yet in terms of we want to be all out and guns blazing. This weekend, again, it'll be a little bit more structurally how we look on field, skill wise. There's another week of games under our belt. How fit are we? So I'll be intrigued to see how it all pans out come Saturday afternoon. It's going to be absolutely wild. It's going to feel like a full game, I reckon. It's going to feel like a proper game, knowing there's no premiership points available, but it'll be pretty exciting. Well, Port fans, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate all the support. Let me know in the comments below what you're looking forward to seeing on Saturday in this Community Series game. I look forward to talking to you all very, very soon with the things I learnt on Saturday to come after the live stream as well. So make sure you tune in for the live stream. Obviously, it's in St Kilda as well, so we'll be an away game for the Community Series. So we're looking forward to seeing our boys play once again. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content to come your way. My name's Anthony, and as always, come the pair.